guys! It's Joanna Hennon, your soul wisdom mentor, and today we'll be talking about the idea of parallel worlds and why I think you should be interested, and what it can do for your business. I'm a little bit distracted by this. There's a little icon in at the top of my screen that I hadn't seen before. So first of all, can you hear me? Hi, Louise. Hi, Debbie. Oh, it's so awesome that you guys are here. Thank you so much. So I was just saying that we'll be talking about the idea of parallel worlds and the concept of the parallel self today, which was really funny because I talk about this stuff all the time. So I've been playing with this concept of parallel worlds for a while now. And so I kind of think of it as my, like it's a normal thing in my day. My 6-year-old talks about, hey, Shirley, my 6-year-old talks about parallel universes even. So like, it's kind of like a normal thing in my house. And I think when I started talking about it to the rest of you, to the world, I didn't kind of appreciate that you didn't have the lead-in time that I did, and you haven't kind of read up on or experienced it like I have. So I never actually talked about the basics. Hi, Eileen. And so when I ask people for questions, like I wanted to be here today answering questions about the concept of parallel lives and parallel worlds. And the first question I got from the people I asked to give me some questions was, we're not really sure what that is. So if you could talk about what that is, that would be great. So I thought, wow, yeah, start at the beginning. That's good advice, right? So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start at the beginning. And I'll be talking about, first of all, about what is the parallel self. So we see this talked about all the time. So the whole concept of infinite possibilities, Mike Dooley, loads of other people talk about this concept of there being infinite possibilities for all of us, right? So that means that you can achieve, create, build anything that you dream up. Like the law of attraction states this. We see this in all the self-help stuff around us. But what does it actually mean, right? What does it actually mean that we have infinite possibilities? And for me, that was a real question. I really thought like, well, why? It can't just be kind of wishy-washy because, you're really great and you can achieve anything. So I thought there has to be something behind this. And when my guides started to send me little hints and experiences and articles so that I was really being nudged in this direction, basically, is what I'm saying. So infinite possibilities come from the idea of the many worlds theory. So I'm not a physicist, right? But it comes from the basics, apparently, of quantum physics, of quantum mechanics. So they did some experiments to see how particles were acting under certain conditions. And out of these experiments, the double slit experiment specifically, they got 2 theories. And one of these theories is the many worlds theory, which means that a bunch of different possibilities, an infinite number of possibilities exist at the same time. So these electrons that they were experimenting with, they were in various states all at the same time, right? So so this various options were happening at the same time is the idea. So the other theory is that all of these things are not happening at the same time, but that once you have an observer, all of those things except for the one that's observed collapse. So then you're living in a universe that's created by the observer, right? So these are the kind of the 2 ways that the scientific community split over this experiment. And the many worlds theory is one that really resonates with me. So that's kind of how I go after anything, really, is if it resonates as truth to me, then I go with it, and I don't, I'm not a physicist, so I'm not going to recreate this and see if it's true or not. But it matches with some of the stuff that my guides have led me to and that I have experienced. So I have actually experienced a parallel world briefly. I'm not going to talk about that right now. If you're curious, then I'll talk about it some other time. But this is today is just the basics of the parallel worlds. So your parallel self then is the you, the version of you, in one of these parallel worlds, right? So there are a variety of worlds happening at the same time, based on choices that you made or didn't make, and choices that other people made and didn't make, various historical things. I'm sure there's a reality where Brexit isn't happening, where the UK voted differently, right? So all these sorts of things, the possibilities exist at the same time. So why should you care, right, about this? Because it's kind of fun to talk about it, and I could talk about it for hours, especially, if we open a bottle of wine. But why should you care? Well, the reason you should care is really simple, because if if this resonates with you, right, if the theory of the many worlds resonates with you like it does with me, then you should care because you are trying to go from A to B, right? You're trying to go from a place of where you are in your business, for example, to where you want to be in your business. And you should care about the parallel life thing because there's a version of you who has already gone from A to B. So there's a version of you who has already achieved that thing that you're, kind of chasing after right now. That thing that you're yearning for, that thing that you really, really want to create in your life. So this is one of the things that we'll be playing with in Inspired Action August, which is about connecting with your soul power, your soul wisdom, and taking action from that space. So this is part of it, right? The idea that you're a multidimensional being, that you exist in several places, that your consciousness can shift from reality to reality. That's part of your soul wisdom and your soul power, and that's a space, an expanded self that you can take action from. Yes, Shirley, I find it super interesting. I swear, the more I learn about it, the more I want to know and experience, and this is definitely one of those things that gets me going. I'm really glad you find it interesting too. If anybody has any questions, then please type them in, or if I'm talking too fast, or if you need several bottles of wine, yeah, that'd be fun. We should do that in September, Louise. So we'll be playing with this in Inspired Action August because it's a huge part of who you are at your core. So you have that power to shift to a different reality, to experience something different to what you're experiencing. So just a note on you as a soul, as energy, as consciousness. Hi, Nina. When you manifest, so this is the way that I talk about manifesting, you don't actually create from scratch. So it's not like you want a Ferrari, and then you really focus on having that Ferrari and it'll just kind of appear. You don't create it from scratch. You attract it into your experience, right? So experiencing the reality of the version of you who already has achieved what you want to achieve, it's just a matter of shifting your focus to her, right? So that your experience is different. It's all about kind of the experience of the things that we see around us. And if you want to experience a super successful, multi-gazillion figure business, then if you focus on that version of you who has already achieved that, then you will see what she is being or doing that you are not, and you'll see that gap, right? Because there has to be a gap, because you're here and you want to be here. That's not showing up. You're here, you want to be here. So there is that gap, but it's a gap that's very easily navigated just through your focus. So if you connect with, it's like channels on a TV, right? You can tune into a different frequency. So if you're tuned into the frequency of, yes, Debbie, there's always a version of you that has achieved it. If you tune into that frequency and kind of spend time with her in meditation, we do it in a visualization in my work, then you can feel for yourself what she's feeling, what kind of thoughts she has in her head, what she is being, the kinds of choices she's making, right? That you are currently choosing not to. And that's the gap. And then it's often something really simple that you just focus on instead of what you're focusing on right now, which is trying to bridge this gap somehow and achieve all these things that you want. Sirli asks, can I end up in the wrong place when playing with this? No. Because I mean, you're still here. So your consciousness is here. And with your intention, you set an intention for where, you know, what reality you want to experience. So if you want to, you know, you won't be shown things that you don't wish to experience. So no, you can't end up in the wrong place. If you're nervous, this is one of the reasons why playing with this stuff is nice in a group where you're being supported, because you'll be supported, right? So there's no, the fear factor is, or the nervousness factor is a little bit less. It is a bit freaky at first to play with it, if you don't know what's happening, right? Which is the story that I promised that I'll tell some other time. So, yes, let me just see. I made a few notes so let me just see, make sure that I've said what I wanted to say. Yeah, so this is why people say things like fake it till you make it, and like the law of attraction says that you need to act as if you already have what you want, right? And so this is it. This is kind of the energy stuff underneath those things that we hear in the self-help books and all that stuff. And this just goes deeper. And for me, it really brings the focus of the shift to something that's doable and easy. Because if you think about that thing that you want, that version of life that you want as in the future, then I find that gap is often quite far, and it's also like it always involves some work on your part to do it, you know. So like you can believe that you can achieve what you want at some point in the future, but you know, you have to do this and you have to do this and you have to be more of this and less of this, and you know, you have to go through all these steps. Whereas here, all you have to do is shift your focus into another version of you. And I mean, it is easier than maybe I'm explaining. It's also really fun. So it's really a matter of playing with the energies, right? Is this a way of making the quantum leaps people talk about? I think so. I mean, a quantum leap is not your regular kind of step, right? So people talk about quantum jumping as well, but quantum leaps, yeah, it's really coming at reality from a different space. And it's not like you'll be changing the reality around you. It'll just be that your focus is in a different reality, a reality where you've already, you know, where it's been easy to achieve what you want, where it's been, you know, easy to earn $1 million or whatever it is that you want, right? So it's not like this reality will cease to exist because there are other pieces of consciousness that we're getting into really complicated things, I suppose. Other pieces of consciousness are focusing on this reality, but your focus will be on the reality where you're living the life you want to be living rather than striving for the life that you want to be living, right? Trying to reach the life that you want to be living. Does that make sense? I only started talking about this publicly maybe like a month ago, so I'm still kind of getting used to how to explain it in ways that you know, that get through to people who are interested. Cool, Debbie, so that works. Yes. So coming at your goals from a space of, I have already done this, like there's a version of me who has already done this, who knows how to do this. I don't need to learn more or do more or work harder or any of those things. There's a version of me who knows how to do it. Like coming at it from that space just gives you so much freedom and so much ease, right? And you have something to tune back into. So if you start playing with that energy and you kind of, you know, you connect with that version of you, you have something to kind of fall back on when you go back to your usual ways, which is what, you know, what tends to happen because your main focus is still here. So it's not like I haven't experienced it as, you know, like this and I'm off into the other reality. It's kind of a constant conscious choice. So I did it, the first time I played with it actually had nothing to do with business. It had to do with my health and my weight loss journey. And so I connected with the Joanna who fit into the skirt that I wanted to fit into. And then I followed, the process that I now use. And then after that, I connected with her daily, with that version of me who already fit into that skirt, and I could see her putting on that skirt. And I asked, when I went through my day, I was very conscious about which version of me was making the decision, right? So there's the version of me now who's in my current state who makes decisions, but I want it to make decisions from the place of the person I want it to become, right? From the other version of me. So I was very conscious, I would pause and say, well, what would she do? Right? Would she eat this cake? Would she not eat this cake? Right? Would she go for a walk, or would she do this? So it was just shifting the focus to the version of me that I wanted to become, as if she was already here and living my life from her perspective. And I found this to be really, really magical, and I fit into that skirt really, really quickly. And I realized that it's not actually fitting into that skirt that I wanted, but something bigger, a bigger change. It wasn't about only that one skirt, but it was a really interesting thing to experiment on, right? I wonder whether that's like when you step into unwavering faith. Yeah, I think that's part of it, because there has to be a faith, that there's a version of you that can achieve this thing that you want, and it takes it a step further. You do have to believe that, that you have achieved this in some kind of part of space and time that we don't entirely understand. And honestly, like, for me, it doesn't even, like, I think it's true, right? And I live my life based on these concepts, but it doesn't really even matter that much whether whether you think it's like ultimate truth, because if it helps you kind of approach the issue from a way, in a way that's more fun and a little bit lighter, then it'll get you better results anyway, right? So it's definitely like worth playing with if it's something that calls to you, if it's something that you feel attracted to, that that you feel is fun. So that's the soul speaking. Like, if something feels fun and exciting, then that's your soul guiding you towards your next steps. So always take those. If this, if what I'm saying right now is like really super boring and makes you want to, like, just leave, then it's not for you, and that's fine, right? So this is just not part of your journey at this point, though it might be at some other point. So yeah. So if it's exciting, then definitely follow the thread. Are there any other questions? I think I've said everything I want to say at this stage. If you want to play with this and with oracle cards and channeled readings and soul wisdom in general, then I will leave the link to Inspired Action August. So that's really created to help us use the tools that are available to us, use the wisdom that's available to us in a way that creates change, right? Because I always say, like, I'm not an information service. I want everybody who taps into this stuff to actually take action based on it. That's the inspired action. It's soul inspired. That's what it is. Great, Debbie. Let me know, if you have any more questions, if anything comes up afterwards. How can I easily tap into my parallel self? Well, I use a visualization. So that's how I started. So I use a visualization along with some intuitive art, because that's what I'm trained in originally. That's how I started to channel. And really, it is kind of like channeling, right? All this work, because it is letting energy flow through you and create your reality around you. So for me, it's all the same thing. So it's a visualization where you see yourself in that space that you want to be in, as that person that you want to be. And I've added the intuitive art just to, we work with a collage actually, just to bring it into the physical space. So I really like collaging as bringing some of those things that you get in meditations and visualizations into the physical space. It also serves as a reminder, of course. So I have mine right there for for the girl who wanted to fit into the skirt. And more guidance comes through that way about how to do that, about that gap. So it's not always easy, I find, in a meditation or a visualization to really get all the answers you want and go as deep as you want, you know, and really know how. Because that's what we want. We want actionable stuff. We want the how and what do I actually do with this information, right? So then the process that I've developed takes that into account. So if you want to do it easily for yourself, you can just play with that, you know, close your eyes and set the intention of connecting with the version of you who already has what you want. So pick a specific moment, something you can really visualize. So for me, in my weight loss thing, it was, you know, I was in front of the mirror, I was trying on that skirt and it fit, right? So in your business, it could be, you know, you're up on stage accepting an award. It could be you're, you know, at a book signing for your book, like whatever that is that tells you that you've arrived at what, you know, maybe you're at a celebration dinner. Like, what is that? Just one moment in time, like a snapshot, you know, of you in that reality with, you know, having already accomplished what you want and what you're striving for. So that's the easiest. And then just spend some time there, basically. Just focus your attention on her and see what comes up. You know, and you can do this in lots of different ways. You can talk to her, you can just be in her and see what she's seeing. So play with it. If you're comfortable playing with it, then play with it by all means. It's really, really fun. I'm not sure if I answered your question, Charlotte, because that wasn't really how can I easily tap into my parallel self. But I hope I answered it a little bit. Thank you, Debbie. That's really what I want to do, is to make it accessible and practical, because I really, really believe that we can all do this stuff. You don't need to, you don't need to be something else or be more spiritual or anything. Like you are a soul just like I am a soul, and we have access to all this stuff. All of us have access to all this stuff, and it's there for us to use to support us to live the best lives we can lead. So it's there to be used. I'm totally sure about that. So I'm just going to read Charlotte, your comments. I pretend it's already happened and be clear on the indicators of success. Yeah, have a go. And I suppose it's an imagination thing, right? And I think like that's why imagination is quoted as such an important skill in all law of attraction work, because you need to be able to really feel that sensation of being that. Another way I've heard it recently being talked about is from the actor's point of view, actually. So if you're, an actor or an actress who has to play a difficult role, has to go through a whole process of, like, it's not just about reading the lines, right? You go through a whole process of backstory and all sorts of things, or lots of different techniques to feel the character and really be that character, right? And there's an element of imagination and pretend there too, obviously. So if that's, maybe from that point of view, it'll make it more accessible. Nina, I think you're still here. That should make it more accessible for you. So there are just various ways of looking at it. But yeah, it's that imagination, that stepping into something slightly different. So if there are no more questions, are there more questions? Tatiana, I see you. If you have a question, then let me know. If I sign off already, then just type it in anyway, and I'll check in later for questions as people hopefully will watch it later. And yeah, if anything else comes up for you afterwards, then PM me or tag me and let me know. As you can see, I love talking about this stuff, and I do want to make it accessible for everybody. And if you want to play with it and Oracle cards and other soul tools, then the link for Inspired Action August will be in the post, and that's really to help you learn to use the tools to create what you want, and in your business especially, and to really set you up for September. So the reason it's being run in August, lots of people have asked me if I'm running it in September, and I'm not, because I'm starting my mastermind in September again. But I'm running it in August specifically to help people set up for September, because after that the year goes super fast, right? So you want to be all set up and clear and for starting that part of the year from a place of power. And what better power than soul power, most expansive, expanded sense of self-power. So thank you all for being here, and do let me know if you have any questions, if I can answer anything else for you, or if anything was unclear. I'll see you guys later. Bye.